Hey all, I'm here at Bricktober 2021, run by Rotary in Western Australia. Very exciting. We have a very low community rate of COVID, so we can have these nice big shows. Well, big for Perth. We've got about 2 million people in the city, so this is a really good turnout for us. A little bit quiet an hour. It's the end of a Saturday. It's been very busy today. I'm here as part of the GBC, or Great Ball Contraption Loop. So let's turn the camera around and I'll take you through some of the cool stuff we have on the table. All right, so I'm going to start going around the loop in a Slayer module. You can see that sort of lifts them up through there. It's a really cool use of the ring gears. From there into a wheel lift. You can see it picks them up right down the bottom, winds them up through the top. After that, we're into a module called Around the World. So the first of our theme modules on the table. This is really cool. I really like the look of this. We've got a little Sphinx here in Egypt. We've got a little miniature Great Wall of China. Then we come into the Statue of Liberty. And finally the Eiffel Tower. And then if I get down right down low, we can see we've got the underworld here going underneath. After that one, we have a Sidewinder module. And this is a cool use of the pins and the chain to bring the balls up and around the side. From there, we've got a sweeper module. And I really like the use of the arms in this one, how it just kind of slowly lifts each section up into the next module. Then we're into a Micro Stepper. This one's been ticking along great all day. This is a share power one. So what we have here is we have a single motor on the left, comes through, and this axle here in the middle connects the two gearboxes, and that drives both of these modules here. From there into a workshop module. Number one, the very first Brickworld workshop module, and this thing, one of my most reliable modules that I use. After that, into a wheel mill module, another one of the wheel lifts. This corner is a little bit truncated from earlier in the day. We've had a few failures, and so a few things have been knocked out. After that, we're into a factory module. So the original factory had an input here, going through a ball pump, then into a nice spiral lift. However, we've had a few failures in the factory, so now we come straight out of the wheel lift here into a conveyor, up a second conveyor, and then we're into our little timer. So we'll see here, as the balls come out, they go through a series of splitters, and you'll see, there we go, one's just tipped over there into the next module. So it's a really cool use of theming on the factory, but I think based on how much work all these factory workers are doing, I think that's part of the reason we've seen so many failures. Actually, if I come over here to the left, we can actually see the engine that drives it all. From there, we're moving into a chain lift module. Wow, chain lift that moves up into a chain wave. And this is I really like the use of the minifigs dancing on the top. And when I first looked at this, they weren't dancing, but they are now, and it's really cool. We've had earlier in the day, Ariel was a little risque. She had her top on backwards, but that was pointed out to us, so we made sure we got that all fixed up. So this is a really clever use of chain lift. We have like a chain on the top, so we get a kind of a Mexican wave of balls flowing down and into the next module. From there into a ramps oscillante, and this is a really cool module. I love this one. I love the fact that you kind of think, it kind of looks like it's never going to make it to the next module, but the inertia it gets from that wave motion really lifts it in. We're now into a rethinking of the fish shack that Lego produced, but one of the things those with keen eyes will notice is it's actually had its hand reversed to make it more compatible with GBC. And what we've actually got going to get the mechanisms working is right down in the middle here, we've got a little ball pump. You can see it just there grabbing a ball, and that comes right up to the top into our next theme module. Cool. So this is another little ball pump that pushes us up through the mountain and onto a river course. And we see the ball slowly moving across the river here. And I'll just spend a bit of time looking around the theming in here, and we'll talk about some of the statistics of it while we're looking at balls coming across. So we've got an average lap time around 17 minutes on the loop. We've got a total of 73 odd modules. Well, give or take, just have a few modules come on and on over the day. We've got roughly 25 metres layout here going, and yeah, 600 odd balls, so forth. 10 odd builders, all from Australia, representing. So there's lots of cool details all over this. This is a very detailed great ball contraption, and you may wonder what this railway through the middle is, and that'll make a bit more sense later on. It's not actually hooked up at the moment, but I'll show you what it was designed to fit. So from there we're into a lift module. So that lifts the balls up using the segment gears from the gear chain. And this is another one that's I really like the mechanism on these ones, because you notice that when it comes back, so the balls are going to drop up into the top, and then they're going to stop, and then when it comes back it actually kicks it into the next module. After that we've got a 6 heads. They seem to be getting along right now, but they've been fighting all throughout the day. I don't know, I think that red one's a bit of a bully. He's really been picking on yellow, and they'll start fighting, and someone will have to come along and pull them apart, and it'll start picking up balls again. After the 6 heads, there we go, so they lift them up and over. We're into a sweeper module. It's clever use of the gear ratios, where it's going to lift the balls up and around. And then that drops into this chain lift that we can see along the back here. And that comes into another chain lift. So now we're going to take a step out and we're going to have a look at the mine cars. So we're going to come all the way back. We're going to follow this train track all the way back, all the way back, all the way back to the start. And we're just going to hang around here. And I'll just put a few balls at the top, so it makes what's going to happen at the end a bit interesting. And here we go, I'll get the shot lined up so we can see the little train car coming all the way down. Here it comes, chuffing all around. So this is obviously a variation of an Akiyuki train. All the power comes from the train itself, so it's going to click in, it's going to power the conveyor, fill itself up with balls, and then it's off. So that bridge I was talking about before that we've just passed there, it's actually designed for these little carts to go underneath, which makes it really interesting. When we have it for a while set up where it goes through the loop, but we kind of simplified it later in the day. We're now into the tipper, and I love this tipper module. This is basically like everything you'd see on some really big mine sites. It's simpler for them to tip the whole carriage over than it is to actually sort of put mechanisms into each individual carriage. So after the tipper, we're back into that chain lift we saw earlier. That's feeding into a Serpentine-esque module. I really love the mechanism on these, a really cool look where it kind of S's up through the top. From there, we're into this interesting chair module here. So let's pause a minute and look at what's happening here, because it's really clever. In fact, I'm not sure if I can get a better angle on this. Let me come around a bit. So yeah, so a lot of you may have seen Tom's Ferris wheel in the US. So here's a really clever timing mechanism where it kind of times the ball drop. Where in this one, it's actually down to each chair. So you see the little bar, yellow bar on the top? That's what triggers the ball into the seat. So that's really clever. But let's come right out on this one. And there we go, it's called Black Widow. A really clever use of the 32 long axles. The chairs go up and over. So it takes the ball all the way around, and then they come down again.
It's fun when they do that.
And then they got a little kicker, it's going to kick it off there. And then we're into another ball pump. So this is another one of the lassie pumps, doing the hard yards, lifting the ball right up. And what we've got here is a bit of an audience. So what's going on here? Let's come around this side. And here it is. Baseball, softball, maybe T-ball. Pretty good hitter for a T-ball player.
Balls are coming.
Well, so there we go. Look at that. Oh, a few foul balls in there. Oh, almost got Almost got a home run off centre, there we go. Nice home run off left field. I really love the theming on this module. Really clever use of the tiles. I'm pretty sure there's an Easter egg here in the audience, but I wouldn't know it. But let's get in focus here. Oh, look at that, there he is. There's Spider-Man hiding in the audience.
Oh,
there we go.
There's Iron Man over there.
Oh, there's an Iron Man as well. Very good. All right, so let's have a quick look underneath as well. So what happens here is if we get a home run, they're going to come into the bottom area. And then, as always with GBC, each hit or foul or strike is going to make its way into the next module. Then we're into a little lassie. Another one of the little lassie pumps. Probably the most lassies I've seen in a single show. But they've been, I don't know, they weren't very happy yesterday, but today they're going great. After the lassie, we're into a rainbow wave. And this rainbow wave's been ticking along great all show. So there we go. I love the way they move along the top like that. Awesome use of the colours there on that one. And you know, just for a bit of context, this has 1,000 little gears here. Look at all those little 8-tooth gears spinning away. Amazing. I'm always impressed when I see one of these working in the wild. Into a little purple stepper module here. That's just lifting the balls up, dropping them in 1 ball per second. And then into our counter for the show. So what are we looking at? 18,222 for the day.
The one shouldn't be there. That's because it's got the ones going up.
All right. So that's, where are we? One apparently, yeah, almost up to IC. We're still rolling over to the zero here. So yeah, we're almost at 18,000 for the day. Got a little while to go. But yeah, really cool. Each one of these has obviously got 1 to 10 gear ratio in it. And as it moves around, it'll slowly drag the next number into view. So let's follow the balls for a bit longer. They come up here and we'll have a look at some of the mechanism that's going on. So the whole thing is driven by an EV3. So we've got a little sensor here that's picking up the path of the balls, each ball going through. It's doing the counting and then it's turning that first number. So I'm going to come back a little bit so that we can see number 0 and we can see the balls passing. There we go, 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to pause while it waits for the next ball. 4, very good. So that's been our counter for the day, and that's been running great all show. Then into another modified stepper. I really like this use of the half issue, so it still gives you plenty of room to get a good fistful of balls out when you need to, but doesn't sort of take up as much room as if you had the other half in here. After that, up into a nice little spiral lift, ticking away, lifting the balls up to the top. Into another little stepper. There we go, poor old catch and spin. He was working hard all day, but decided it wanted a break at the end of the day, so just throw a little stepper in there. After that, we're into another factory module, and this one's actually a ball cleaner, inspired by the Akiyuki module, ball cleaner itself, but inspired where it ends. So let's see if I can. All right, and we're back. Sorry, folks. That little edit was because there was a bunch of announcements about raffle winners in the background. So, all right, so we're at a ball cleaning factory, inspired by the Akiyuki. But the key difference in this one is it's all pneumatics. But let's first have a look at what it's actually doing. Let's see if we can get in here. So we start with some balls over here on the right. And here we go. Here's a batch coming in now. They're going to get picked up and dropped in. And then it's going to spin back. I got this all backwards. Let me, where are we? Where's the end? All right, okay. So we've got the balls back here getting lifted into the input. And they're dropped on 4 little drum barrels. Then the whole mechanism does a 180 and it gets put under this cleaning cloth here. So ball cleaners are an awesome mechanism to have in your layout because over the day, balls get a constant sort of layer of grime, and what you'll find is every module will just start performing differently as the day goes on. It's really strange. So I talked before about this being all pneumatics. And pneumatics is a really interesting thing to play with because pneumatics are a bit like binary. So you can think of it as a mechanical computer because pneumatics, here we go, we'll come up and watch the center. They have a binary state. They're either on or off. See these 2 pistons here, these are extended, which is a 1, and then they'll contract, and that's a 0. So if we come and have a look at the control mechanism here, All these tubes and all these pipes are basically flipping a whole bunch of switches and controlling the logic of this whole mechanism moving backwards and forwards. And there's quite a bit going on here. We've got backwards and forwards, we've got spinning, we've got various clamping. And you can see it's been built by an engineer just by all the tagging. So look at all those number tags. We can see all the little color tags here, and that gives you an idea of just how complex mechanisms can get no matter how you build them, and especially when you build a mechanical computer using pneumatics. Cool, so after the ball cleaner, we're going to move into another spiral lift. Always a neat module to watch. Bit of a hard life, really. They've got to dry themselves from the bottom. Oh, so many announcements. So we've got a spiral lift here. That lifts the balls up.
See the lady down there with a hand up. If you pop down there to get your photos taken.
It's that time of the day, folks. All right. Yeah, so a bit of hard life. They have to be driven right from the bottom, and so you've got all this torque with axles. Anyway, they're a cool one to watch, the way to lift it up. Into another little stepper here, ticking away. I really love the use of the clear panels in the side. Really let you see what's going on with the pistons. And you know, it's like a little engine if you have a bit of imagination. From there into a micro stepper and into the first of our bridges. So let's take a step or two back, or 3 or 4 or 5. Bridges are always hard to get in shot. There we go. That's a very industrial bridge, probably one of the most industrial I've ever seen. So definitely not falling down. So the mechanism itself, we have a chain lift, lifts the balls up, right over here, up and over top, and then they're going to slide along the top, and then they're going to drop down. So we've got a drop here, we're doing initial drop, and then we take out some of the energy, and then we've got a nice little back and forth. And these things are great, and they go tick, 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 tick. There we go, all the way to the bottom. So it needs to be a little taller, that bridge. I'm a little bit tall for it, but I love having bridges, tall bridges in a layout, really makes life easier. All right, so this is 6H, very new build. It's been built in the last, built just for this show, very new. So not so much fighting going on there, but I think the redhead's still been picking on the yellowhead. So I know it had been decapitated at one point in the day. So really cool, clever use, picks up the balls, drops them over, and then we're into another Ramps Oscillante. Let's come out a bit and we'll just look at that one. There we go. Love the use of that one. Into another little stepper here. Good use of rainbow here. You can see all the different bricks that can go into a module like this. And what's cool about these ones is they have very much a brick-built module. The primary structure, all the pistons are all brick-built, and they just have a little bit of technique in them for motion. So it's something that it's quite easy to. It's a lot easier to build at home a module like this. You don't necessarily need a large stock of Technic parts. There's going to be so many edits in this because of the announcements. I do apologise. All right, we're into a chain lift. And I first come around, I was really surprised because I wasn't expecting the output of this. So it's using one of these little ramps. It's a really cool kicker. And there we go, they'll come up and over and then boop, into the next module. Then into the Brickweld Sawtooth Workshop module. And that's building up into an Archimedes screw. And this is a really new build. He had some interesting challenges trying to really work out all the nuances in getting the rollers. Like I asked him why he didn't use tires, and it actually provided too much friction for the whole mechanism. And I really love Archimedes screws. They're just such a clever use of the ring gears. And you can see the balls slowly making their way up to the top. You see them drop in from the ramp. There we go, a couple new balls dropping the ramp, and they're slowly making up. And the reason for that is, if we get around here and have a look at this angle, you can actually see the spiral. So if these were parallel, we'd be able to look clear through and see all the way through, but you can see the gears crossing over. So we can sort of see the Archimedes screw in action. Now we're into this little flip module. This is another one of my favourites because I like how it's all inertia driven. So what's happening here is we see the balls flip from side to side. What's actually moving them up, it's the inertia of a ball hitting these little slopes at the end, and that's what lifts them to the next level. And that means, see, look, it's still on quite a slope there. You can see that it's actually climbing up from quite a low level into the next module. Very clever, very clever. Another Brickworld sawtooth here, nicely themed in all the rainbow colours. And then from there we're into a wheel module. So this is really clever. This is once again using the gears. Let's see if I can get an angle that's not too blurry here. And it's picking the balls up. So it picks them up, lifts them around, and then drops them into the top like so. From there, the output of that's taking us into a sweeper module. And that's, you can see them the balls handing off from one sweep to the next, all the way up to the top. From there, we're actually into our lowered section. So let me just take a step back. Well, we can see the table drop off the edge there. So this one was set up for the kids. Turned out it was a little harder for the kids to see because it's a bit of a barrier here. However, what it has meant is that a kid has essentially maintained it the whole show. Hey buddy, he's been working harder than his dad. His dad just, whoa. All right, luckily this module can take a bit of a punishment. So yeah, so the balls come down there, they drop down the little, and that just takes some of the energy out and drops them into the next module. We're then into a little Hoken 4-bar module, so that's just kind of lifting the balls up and flicking them up and over the edge. From there we're into whirligig, and you know, if they look similar, these modules, this one is very much a 4-bar mechanism in a whirligig frame. From there into one of the Brickworld ball pumps. And there we go. There we go. Now that's pumping it up. They're into workshop, WM01, another workshop module. So we've got the same designer for these two modules. You can get instructions online for those. So this is actually a C model or a G model, depending on how you prescribe it. And what that means is it's built entirely out of a Lego set. So you could buy a little fire truck set from Lego, and Maiko, he worked out a way of turning just those parts, so he didn't need any extra parts into module. Oh, when I say he didn't need any extra, you do need a motor, but everything except the motor, you could actually hand crank it and it would be a age-compliant GBC module. From there into a little Maiko stepper, and then we're into a little pickup. And this is really cool. I like it's a really small compact module. It's probably the most compact form I've seen of these. Clever use of the scissors, the little pickup mechanism, and there we go. All right, and then we're into next, and after that, we're into the chain lift. All right, we'll just follow a couple of balls up. All right, so from there, we're into my mini golf, and I know you've all seen this 1,000 times before, so I'm going to do a speed run of it. So we have the long right putt. The Easter Island head with its spooky glowing eyes. We have the Pharaoh's tomb, and you know, they've all been gutter balls. Oh no, I say that, and then he gets one into the tomb. Then we have the crocodile. Well, I'm back in Australia now, so it's a crocodile, not an alligator. And they have Crocodile Run, the sand obstacles, Tower Bridge, the long bend, up and over. Oh, there we go. And finally the yellow back rung into the obligatory windmill, as always. From there we're into a stepper module, and then we're into something new of mine. Yay, new modules. There were lots of cool new things on the table. This one's just one of my new builds, so I'm particularly excited. So this one's an aerial tramway based around the roller track. And it comes through and picks the balls up and then takes them up the course. And then, here we go, come up and around and then puts them out in the output. Yeah, so I said this is one of my new builds. I had a lot of fun building this. There we go, I'll grab the little car, one of the little cars from behind. It's actually using a little city hub and one of the little, powered up medium motors. We've got a highly detailed control panel here running in the background, and I use that just to tweak speeds up and down. Depending on the rate of the GBC circuit, I will put more cars on, more or less cars on. We're running 2 cars at the moment. That's more than enough to keep up with the current rate of balls. Sometimes I might need 3. I built 4 because it was a new module and I didn't know how well it would perform. Yeah, and what I've done is that things like the ends are all designed to be passive. So what we have here is the car will come through, it'll bump the top, lift up a little path, and then carry on through. And I've got some mechanisms that you can see here. That's designed so that it only batches 10 balls at a time into the cars. So we'll see a car come around here, and then all these little lift arms here drop down onto the top, and then they then take the balls up to the top.
Make your way out of the building, please.
And then dump them off. And once again, it's all passive. We saw the little, as it came across, lift a little gate here, and that's what dropped the balls out. So from there into a lift module and my tower crane, which has been ticking along great as always. I'll just take a few steps back so that we can really get this one fully in shot, and there it is. And I'll take a few more steps back so we can see the whole of GBC layout. Some of the people that have really helped us run it all weekend here at Bricktober. I hope you enjoyed the video and I look forward to making more.